When we got off stage, the guys from Supertramp gave us Coke and bought us drinks. What is happening, roadies? Thank you for tuning back in for another special edition here of Hell on Wheels, a Tour Stories compilation. Storytime Friday. You know how we do it here. Sorry I missed last week, but if you have been paying attention, you probably saw or heard the special episode I put out about our buddy monitor engineer Steve Walsh. If you have not, go ahead and check that out. But yes, we are back with another fantastic reading from this book right here, Hell on Wheels, a Tour Stories compilation by my man Greg Jacobs. Thank you, Greg, for letting us read this. These are some interesting, inspired stories from the 90s, from some great sort of punk, do-it-yourself, rock and roll bands from the 90s, traveling this great country and abroad in their vans and in small vehicles and whatnot, and the shenanigans they get into. If you want to pick up a copy of this book, this version, you can do so by hitting that Amazon link in the description below. If you want to wait for a new version of this book coming out, a new edition, a glorious new edition with all sorts of new stories, you can find that by chilling out, coming back to our channel at the end of the summer, possibly in the fall of 2022 here. Whole new books coming out with a bunch of new stories that Greg has put together. Stick around. We've only got a few weeks left of doing these readings. Then we're going to get Greg on the show. We're going to talk about this book, the new book, and what his path was that led him to creating this stuff. Also have to give a shout out to our sponsor of this special series, oneofoneproductions.com, the foremost premier podcast solutions company out there. If you are looking to start a new show, to take your current show to the next level, then look no further, my friends, because they've got you covered with everything you need, particularly the Roadie Free Radio podcast bundle that I worked out with them. We are super psyched to have collaborated on this thing. You got to check it out, man. It includes the Roswell Pro Audio Mini K87 microphone, a Focusrite 2i2 Scarlett interface, AKG headphones, XLR cables, a hard shell case, and of course a couple of Roadie Free Radio stickers to help jazz up your case there or your work box, whatever you've got, wherever you want to stick them. I'd like to see them, so you can hit me up at Instagram. Let me know that you got them on your vehicle or wherever you're going to put them. Anyway, check that out. Use the code Roadie Free Radio when you check out so they know who sent you. I appreciate it. And for now, let's get into this week's story. We're talking about a band called Screaming Sirens, opening for Supertramp in St. Louis, Missouri by Pleasant Gaiman. This event took place in 1985 or 1986 when the Screaming Sirens, my insane all-girl liquor-soaked cowpunk band, was in the midst of its second U.S. tour, supporting our first album, Fiesta. It all started in Nashville. Friends of ours came from all over Tennessee, and we had quite a few friends in that state at the time to see us play our last gig in that area at Roosters. It was our bassist Laura's birthday, the eve of her birthday. At midnight, we were going to celebrate. We were on the bill with some band called Something About Science, and though they remained unknown, at that point, they had a financial backer, a humongous air-conditioned heated tour bus with beds, and a refrigerator, a driver, and a full road crew. We were living like road pigs, staying at people's houses on the floor, no showers, no heat in our van. It was the middle of November, shitty money at our gigs. We got real drunk with the other band. They were cute boys, and they all knew it was Laura's birthday, so they were partying us down. I went outside to get some air, and there, in the weeds, leaning against the side of the club, was this freshly dug up gravestone from the 1900s, the headstone of a girl who died at the age of 24, the age Laura was turning. On the day Laura was born. What better present? I got a roadie, and with the help of like 5 other people, the stone was so big and heavy, we loaded it onto a dolly and brought it up to the dressing room on the elevator. Instead of the anticipated reaction of laughter and cries of "no way," Laura was completely terrified. She flipped out. "Get that fucking thing out of here right now," she said, her voice trembling. We thought it was forgotten, but the headstone put a curse on the whole next day. That night, after the show, partying at a restaurant with the other band, Laura somehow left her purse with all her ID and all her money in the parking lot of the restaurant. When we got back to look for it, it was gone. Then she and I had the late night driving shift. We were going to St. Louis and it began to pour so hard it was difficult to see out the windshield. We were dead tired and had no speed. There wasn't even anywhere to get coffee because nowhere was open and it was freezing. Finally, 3.5 hours later, we got to an open convenience mart only to discover we'd gone that whole distance in the wrong direction. Getting back on course, we rolled through Kentucky, trying to make good time because we had a show that night. Instead, we got pulled over for speeding. Laura, of course, was driving and she had no ID because her purse was lost. Not only that, the redneck cop was horrified because she had on a vintage, falling apart sealskin coat and men's long underwear. And I was sitting there in my stage clothes, ripped up petticoats, fishnets, a handcuffed belt, corset, and a parka. And we both had last night's makeup on. Not a pretty picture. She explained to the cop about her purse, and he went through the whole scene of calling L.A. to see if we were hardened criminals or something. He got her date of birth, so it was obvious it was her birthday. We told him why we were speeding on a deserted country road at 7 a.m., and he didn't care. He wrote us a huge ticket anyway. We finally got to St. Louis and looked for a post office so we could spend our earnings back home. The way things were going, the thought of having almost $2,000 worth of cash was frightening. Besides, the gig tonight was really one of the best paying shows on the tour. So we got out money orders and sent the cash back to LA, keeping 1 day's per diem per girl. We got $10 a day each. Shit pay, even for back then. We got lost, of course, on the way to the club, but when we finally got there, it was like, screaming, who? They'd fired the booking agent about a month ago, canceled all his bookings, and no one bothered to tell us. Our next gig was 3 days away, and we had like $60 between 7 people, plus whatever personal money we had stashed, which, in everyone's case, wasn't more than $5 or $10. And Laura, of course, had zilch. We'd just gotten rid of the entire band fund, too. We were sitting in the parking lot all afternoon freezing. We'd pleaded about playing, even for tips, but the new booking agent didn't want to go through the hassle. It started to snow. The house band was booked there to play 5 top 40 sets that night. They found out we were girls and spied on our van. We offered them some pot. It was all we had. And in our predicament, we needed some sedation. They retaliated by smuggling beers and popcorn out from the club. Finally, they told us that Supertramp was playing at some coliseum down the street and the after party was at the club here. They invited us to play a short set on their equipment and said they'd get it okayed. We had a dismal dinner at an Italian low-budget place that sucked, then went to the club. It was packed with millions of people. The house band was being really nice, getting us pitchers of beer, and everyone was singing happy birthday to Laura. We played a wild little set, and the place went crazy. One of the house band guys explained our predicament on stage, and people were sending trays of shots up to the stage and throwing money and stuff. Then the entire club sang happy birthday to Laura, and we got off stage. The guys from Supertramp gave us Coke and bought us rounds of drinks and then went on. So we opened for Supertramp. By the end of the night, someone had gotten in tough with the promoter in Kansas City, and he was overjoyed we'd be there a day early and arranged for us a free place to stay, so our luck turned around. But just like the old cartoon, Laura still shrieks, "Happy birthday! Oh no, please, not birthday, anything but happy birthday!" Oh my God, screaming sirens. That is a fantastic, fantastic story. Listen, thank you guys so much for tuning in and listening to this story this week. I appreciate it. Leave me a comment below if you're watching on YouTube, or send me a note, info@roadiefreeradio, if you're listening to this on the podcast. If you want to subscribe to the entire podcast, go ahead and do so in the link. Subscribe to this channel, hit the like button. Let me know some of your crazy tour stories. I'd love to hear them. Once again, big shout out to Greg Jacobs and to oneofoneproductions.com. Check out that podcast bundle, man. You're going to want to do it. I'll see you guys in the next video. Stay happy, stay healthy, stay safe out there, and I'll see you down the road.